how to set up a Xero organization. To do that, easiest place is on the green My Xero screen here, which is our dashboard and hub for our practice. And we hit this new organizational tab here. We pop in the organization's name. So let's go with that. Where does it pay its taxes? This decides what version of Xero it's going to be using. So this is going to use the UK version. We can convert from other softwares, but in this example, we're just going to go from scratch and we're going to start the trial. We can start the trial and we can then convert to a paid version once we're ready to go. So I hit start trial. It will have a little think about that while it gets the data together. And now we're going to go through the steps for preparing our business and getting it set up. So there's some step-by-step guides and videos to assist us. But the first thing we want to look at is organizational settings. So we can have a legal trading name and then it might have a different trading as name, or what we want to see up here in Xero. Company registration number that we can pop into there as well. Limited company, not-for-profit, partnerships, persons and sole traders can be set up. Registered offices, so we can find an address in there as well. We can pop a postcode in and fill that in. Same if it's got a different physical address, pop that in there as well as any social links. These kind of things are important as these then appear on invoices later down the line. If we don't get time to finish this off in one go, we can save and quit and come back to this from the green My Xero screen. Once we've got that filled in, we've got the financial settings. So question one is it registered for VAT? And then it wants to know what scheme that is, and there are a variety of schemes there. We'll use accrual for now. And the VAT period, that will dictate how often the VAT returns need to be prepared. Most are quarterly. And then the VAT number, we want to get that detail filled in because we want to hook this up for making tax digital, so we want that detail in there so we can connect Xero for that. We've then got some defaults of do we have VAT inclusive or exclusive by default on our sales and purchases. Most people tend to go with exclusive, but again, it's entirely up to you. CIS, again, can be added. Once the wizard's complete, we would come back to financial settings and then put the CIS construction scheme numbers in there. BACS, again, for making BACS payments, the service number needs to be popped in there, and time zone in most cases will be the UK. And then we've got invoice settings. So this is to set up our invoices if we want to send them. So sometimes we might want to skip this step and just get the thing set up. But for now, I'm going to show you this. So it has default branding options in Xero. So things like tax number, unit price showing on there, the logo where that will be. So I can upload our logo there if you want to put a logo on our invoice. And if you want to change key details, we hit edit and we can change all of these details. I won't go through every single one of them, but again, we can do things like where the logo sits. Payment terms, I'd always recommend filling this one in. At very minimum, pop your bank details in there in terms if you're taking bank transfers. And again, we can put terms on quotes as well. If we're sending quotes over, like, they will last for 30 days or something like that. Save. And that basically is our basic invoice there. We can get previews of that as well as to what that will look like. And we can always come back to this as well once it's been first set up. Next step, we would invite any users. Again, so often we will skip this step, to be honest, when we are first setting the thing up. We want to set it up for ourselves and then invite the client afterwards. But let's, in this example, pop an invite to Amy. There we go, so we pop her email address in. And then in terms of permissions, so projects allows you to use the project feature in Xero, which is an additional bolt-on for time tracking. Payroll admin, if you're running payroll through Xero, you can effectively see the payroll. Your main one will be this business and accounting. So there are 4 main levels. The most basic one is read only, where we can only read reports. We then have invoice only, and we've got levels of do we create drafts? Can we get to the sales function? Can we do purchases? Or can we approve and pay sales and purchases? We've also got bank account admin, just means that can we edit customer or supplier bank details in Xero, or can we not go into the settings and change them? So again, we want to think carefully about that one. Standard is your most common one for clients to actually have. So the bank reconciliations, again, most will have just the non-cash coding, but any accountants or bookkeepers that we're giving access to will generally want cash coding because that's a really cool way on another video of coding things quickly. And again, we've still got the edit bank account details like we had before. And then another few options is can they view and run reports? and can they file VAT returns for MTD. Lastly, can they add users themselves on there? And then the top dog is advisor, and this is where most accountants and bookkeepers live. What this does is it gives you the bonus tab of being able to do things like find and recode and journals and everything on the advisor tab. And again, I can tick those items there. I can also add a message if we want to change anything across there, and then send my invite, and that's done. And we can add as many of those as we like. Then we've got currencies. If we're using foreign currencies and have a foreign currency version of Xero, we can add dollars, euros, and a huge variety of currencies as well, as you can see, which is fairly straightforward. And then the juice is the chart of accounts, so we can use the default chart of accounts, or if we're importing, something like Sage, and we want to use those same numbers, we can import them and download a file. In this example, we're going to use the default one. And then we can we're using our default ones, and again, we now get this list. We haven't added a bank account per se, but we can change it now. We can edit it from here. We can add other details. We can change descriptions as we please. It's going to moan at me because there's no bank accounts, as I mentioned. We can set up a bank account. We normally do that after this is first set up with the client to get the bank feed set up live. So I'm going to continue anyway. Then conversion is when are we starting from? So if our first month is March, we're then going to go, okay, well, what were the balances at the end of February? Hit OK. And then if we've got any conversion balances, we're going to pop them in, but we're going to cover that in another video in more detail. For this, we're going to assume that this is a fresh company with no balances. And then boom, setup is complete. Happy days. Hit finish, and then we are good to go with our Xero.